So guys, whenever we talk about any programming language, compiler and interpreter automatically comes into the place here. Okay, so guys, in today's video, we are going to talk about what is the difference between the compiler and interpreter. So before moving ahead with the compiler and interpreter, let me just show you the overall idea about the programming language, who is very much new to here. Okay, so what is a programming language ultimately if we talk about? So just understand, okay, our machine actually works on a binary. It works on a beat level. Okay, 1010 and all here. But as a human, we cannot remember all the 1010 pattern out there. Okay, so it's hard for us to remember the pattern, and as well as for the machine, it's hard for them, okay, to understand the human language. Correct? So that's why what has been built, it's in a programming language. Specifically, you can say high level programming language. So here what we are doing generally, so we are in programming language, we're writing certain code in an English. Okay. Internally, it will going to get converted into the machine code, okay, which can be properly understood by the our machine. Correct? And what is machine code? Machine code is nothing but your patterns of your 1010 specific, you can say, command. Correct? So that is ultimately overall idea about the programming language. Programming language is for us so that human can properly write the code, they can give the command to your system. Okay, and machine code, okay, it's nothing but a specifically for our machine to understand and recognize the command, what kind of a command has been given by the user, or you can say developer or anyone. Correct? Great. Now if we talk about compiler and interpreter, okay, those are both are the stuff, okay, which works as an intermediator between the high level programming language and the machine code here. Okay, so now if we talk about their execution point of view, what is the difference between the compiler and interpreter? If we talk about with respect to the execution point of view here, okay, so compiler will going to translate the entire code into the machine code at once before the real execution happens, and for the interpreter it will going to translate and execute the code line by line. So if you want to relate this with respect to specific example, let's say there is one book which you want to read, but that book is in different language which you don't know. So first of all, what you are going to do with respect to the compiler process, you are going to translate the whole book into your known language, then you are going to read it at once. That is a compiler way. For the interpreter way, you are going to translate the each line of that book into your known language and you are going to read it. Okay, so this is how you can actually take the example into the consideration. Correct? Now if we talk about with respect to the speed, okay, so compiler is faster, okay, as program is actually pre-compiled here. Okay, and interpreter is bit slower compared to the compiler here, okay, because it is trying to translate the whole code in a runtime, okay, on the go. So in compiler, what is actually happening? So once you write the code, okay, once you compile it, what it will going to do? It will going to convert your program, whatever you have written, into the machine code, and whenever you try to run that code, it will going to run that machine code which has been already pre-compiled. Okay, for the interpreter, it will not going to generate that machine code, okay, once you can say compiler all, it will going to convert into the machine code line by line. Okay, once you run it, then at that time only it will going to convert. So that's why the interpreter is bit slower compared to the compiler here. Output, so it will going to generate for the compiler, it will going to generate the execution file. Okay, that execution file is nothing but your machine code which will going to run once you click that button to run that particular your programming, you can say execute the code. Correct? Now for the interpreter, it does not produce the, you can say, a separate file, because it ultimately it will going to run on the code. That's why it will not going to generate any execution file here. Error, so compiler will going to throw all the error that you are having in your code at once. For the interpreter, it will going to, because it runs line by line now, so once you have any error at any of the line, it'll going to stop there. It'll tell you, okay buddy, you are having the error there. Okay, please solve it. Correct? So interpreter, line by line execution. Now for the compiler, all the error, all the execution, whole at once, simple. example with respect to in which programming language comes under which method. Okay, so C, C++, Java. Okay, so this comes under a your compiler. Python, JavaScript, Ruby comes under an interpreter based system here. If you see for the Java, there is written here in the first stage. What does it mean? So guys, understand, Java is not only solely depend upon the compiler, it is a hybrid. It based upon the hybrid system here. Okay, it works mainly both on compiler and the interpreter. That's why it's a hybrid. But in a first stage, Java is based upon the compiler. That's why it is written here. Now, for user scenario here, just see, it's ideal for a production environment where performance and speed is very much critical. And for the interpreter, if we talk about, okay, it's better for scripting, testing, and rapid prototyping. That is a scenario where you can actually use both, either interpreter based system or interpreter based language or the compiler based language here. Correct? So I hope you guys got the proper idea here. Okay, I know this is my initial videos, so I'll try to improve. Okay, but if you love the content, please subscribe to show the support, and I'm going to come up with a much more good content. Thank you guys.